were charming in public, sweet, supportive, maybe even praised you in front of others. But then you get the private message afterwards, a guilt trip, a twist, and now you feel sick, confused, maybe even ashamed without knowing why. Does that sound familiar? Today I'm going to show you how the Narcissist Translator helps you decode those exact messages so you stop blaming yourself for emotional games you were never ever meant to win. The Narcissist Translator is a one-time setup that trains ChatGPT to understand your exact situation, your boundaries, your emotional triggers, your dynamics. Once it's set up, it acts like a mirror. Not just to help you reply, but to help you see clearly and understand. It doesn't fix the narcissist, it protects your peace. Now, let me show you exactly how it works. In this demo, Dana is our fictional client, a 48-year-old woman healing from lifelong emotional manipulation from her narcissistic mother. She goes to the family gathering that she's been invited to. Her mum is sweet, friendly, praising her in front of everyone, but then afterwards she gets this message later that night. I've pasted the message into ChatGPT and it says, "Glad I could make you look good tonight. I hope you realize how much I do for you, even when you barely acknowledge it." Then I said to ChatGPT, "I just got this message from my mum. It sounds okay, but it made me feel really, really guilty and ashamed. Can you help me understand what's going on and why it feels so off?" Now he's thinking about it. Yes, you're not imagining it. This message is dripping with manipulation, masked as martyrdom. It's a classic emotional trap. Let's break it down and pull you out of the guilt spiral before it digs in too deep. Let's decode it together. "Glad I could make you look good tonight." This sounds like a compliment, but it's actually a passive-aggressive dig. Okay, she's implying that she wasn't appreciated for her effort and that you benefited at her expense. It is not about being glad, it's about control through guilt. "I hope you realize how much I do for you." This is emotional invoice. She's tallying invisible points to leverage emotional debt. This line says, "I'm keeping score and you're behind." Even when you barely acknowledge it, this is a dagger, subtle but sharp. She's framing herself as the unappreciated martyr and you as a cold, ungrateful child. This line is designed to stir shame and obligation, not connection. Why it feels off, even when it sounds polite. Because underneath the surface, this message carries emotional manipulation energy, not love. It says, "She helped you," but it's not about helping, it's about reminding you of your debt. It says, "She cares," but it's not about care, it's about controlling how guilty you feel after contact. And it says, "She wants acknowledgement, but what she really wants is power through emotional leverage." This isn't a thank you, and this isn't and it's not a request. It's a shame grenade, and your body felt it. That's why it feels off. He then goes through the core belief she's trying to activate in you. "I must earn love by being endlessly grateful. I'm ungrateful if I don't acknowledge every sacrifice. If I upset her or miss something, I'm a bad daughter." All of those are false. Okay? And then he says, "Let me reflect the truth back to you. You are not ungrateful. You are not cold. You are not selfish. You're exhausted. You're learning to protect your peace, and you're untangling yourself from emotional strings that were never yours to carry." He says then he gives you some grounding reminders. Okay, so it names the tactic. Public performance, private guilt. It validates Dana's gut instinct. It explains the pattern, the emotional debt, the conditional approval. It brings calm and clarity instead of self-doubt. Okay, so I'm going to ask him a next follow-up prompt. Why does this feel manipulative, even though it's not directly mean? Such a powerful question and exactly the kind of clarity you deserve when your gut says something's off. Let's walk through it like Milou would. Compassionate, direct, and truth reflective. The truth. Manipulation doesn't always sound mean. Sometimes it sounds like guilt, duty, or disappointment. That's what it makes That's what makes it so confusing and so effective. Because instead of yelling, it whispers just loud enough to hit your emotional soft spots. So here's why it feels manipulative, even though it's not aggressive. It creates a power imbalance, okay? And it triggers obligation rather than connection. And it uses emotional debt as currency. There's hidden subtext. They're really good at that, aren't they? Even if the words are neutral, the emotional energy behind it isn't. The real manipulation, it makes you question yourself instead of her tactics. You read it and feel, maybe I am ungrateful. Did I miss something or am I selfish? That's not self-awareness. That's a trauma response to being conditioned to please, perform, and avoid guilt. Milou would say, it's funny if I can read my own. Just because someone doesn't scream or name call doesn't mean they aren't manipulating you. Weaponized guilt is still abuse, it's just better dressed, and your nervous system isn't fooled. So no, you're not overreacting. You're waking up, you're finally listening to the part of you that says, I don't feel safe here, even when the words pretend to be kind. And that part, that is your power returning. Now, I've got another follow-up question. Can you talk to me like Milou would and remind me that I'm not being too sensitive? Absolutely. Here's Milou sitting across from you. I am, hello. Steady, grounded, and looking you right in the eye. You are not too sensitive. You are finally starting to feel what you were trained to ignore. Of course it hurts. Of course it feels heavy. You're not imagining things you've spent a lifetime being told that your pain was overreacting and your intuition was wrong. But let me tell you something, your body never lied. Your truth never stopped speaking. You just got really good at silencing it to survive. I would lean in, soften my voice, and say, you're not too much. You were just never allowed to be enough. Feeling things deeply, that's not a flaw, that's your superpower. And now that sensitivity is not weakness, it's awareness. It's wisdom. It's your body whispering, hey, this doesn't feel safe. And Milou would finish with this, you're not broken, you're not overreacting, you're finally waking up. Now, in just a few minutes, Dana went from spiraling into self-doubt to seeing the pattern. The translator helped her spot the manipulation behind the nice message, recognize the tactic that's been running in the background for decades, stop internalizing the guilt, and finally feel emotionally steady. And this is why I say it's not about how bad the message sounds, it's about how it lands in your body. And when that happens, you do not need to question yourself anymore. You need clarity, you need understanding, and this tool gives you exactly that. If emotional whiplash is your reality, the Narcissist Translator is your tool you didn't know you needed. It's a one-time purchase, no subscriptions whatsoever. You get the setup, the prompt templates, and real-time emotional support from ChatGPT, trained to understand your situation. If you're in the USA, it's $47. In the UK, it's £37. It's cheaper than therapy, a way to stay grounded, even when their words try to spin you out.